Hey everyone, it's Mage 1370. There's a very good chance we are going to get the custom group summon banner this week, so I wanted to go through the best artifacts and heroes to select for this banner. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. So if you're not familiar, this custom group summon banner happens very regularly in Epic 7. It's typically every 6 months, and right now we are overdue for this banner, so there's a very high likelihood that it will be announced in the next couple days as, an upcoming release for the next week or two. I have the patch notes for the previous custom group banner pulled up here so we can refresh ourselves on the criteria for, what heroes are included on this banner. They spell it out, let's see, right here. So you can get limited heroes as well as covenant heroes on this banner. Limited heroes have to be released 6 months prior to the end of the scheduled custom group summon and have been featured in a rerun. So that's a, key clause there. They have to be featured in a rerun. Covenant heroes, on the other hand, simply have to be released 6 months or prior to the scheduled end of the custom group summon. So the custom group summon is typically a 4-week-long banner. You can see the previous one here went from April 20th through May 18th. So that's roughly a month. And once you, start it, it's available for 14 days. You are able to select 3 different heroes with their corresponding artifacts on this banner. And then as you pull them, you accrue the Star Mirage coins, and the Mirage coins can be used to purchase copies of any of the heroes on the banner or their artifacts. Their artifacts are purchasable once. The heroes can be purchased any number of times with star coins. The cost of an artifact is 100 coins, and the cost of a hero is 120. So let's go ahead and take a look at the timeline here for when we got the previous custom group banner. And scroll, let's see. So this is back, we need to go this way. So here's the previous one. You can see April 19th through May 17th. So if we get the upcoming custom group banner, let's say this week on October 25th, that 4-week period will take us to November 22nd. So any Covenant hero would have to be released 6 months prior to the end of November 22nd. And Abigail here is a hero that was released pretty recently, back in May 31st, 2023. And 6 months prior, or forward in time from that, would be November 31st. So if we get the banner, I think my interpretation is if it comes out on October 25th, I don't think Abigail would be available. Now, if they announce it and then they delay the release until the week after, then Abigail probably would be on that banner. That's kind of the most contentious hero that may or may not be offered. I feel like from a monetary perspective, it would make sense for Smilegate to put Abigail on there because she hasn't been available since her initial release, and I think a lot of people want to pull her artifact Golden Rose. As far as limited heroes go, let's see. We had Ocean Breeze Lulika and Lethe pretty recently, but they haven't been rerun and they're less than 6 months old, so those definitely will not be on there. Elagos is an RGB hero and he's older than 6 months old, so he will definitely be on the custom banner. Ahmed here is limited and is older than 6 months but has not had a rerun, so I don't believe Ahmed would be on it. So that's my understanding based on the rules that they've outlined here, and this is of course assuming that it does come out in the next couple weeks and it follows the same rules as last time. That it's their game. Smilegate can always change the rules, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at, I guess we'll do the artifacts first, and then we'll do the heroes and discuss what the best options are depending on the stage of your account. We can pull up the hero journal here. I think that's probably the most efficient way to do this. I guess we'll start with the artifact journal since I said we were going to do artifacts first. And we want to filter by 5-star because we don't care about the other ones. We'll just go by class. I think that's the easiest way to look at it here. So you're not able to get collaboration heroes on this banner. So things like Anti-Magic Mass and Azure Comet are, not options. Same thing with Benimaro's Tachi. Little Queen Crown is Chloe. Not very useful maybe on Arunca. And certainly you wouldn't want to waste a custom on it. Same thing with Alensonox's Wrath. Border Coin also has been around forever and is not worth putting on. Champion's Trophy is a somewhat useful artifact and it is limited. It's Holiday Euphem's artifact. This thing gives effectiveness and can stun. You can put this artifact on Conquer Lilius, for example, and get the baseline effectiveness there and also the chance to stun as well on her S1. She does S1 a decent amount of times because she's usually built very quickly. So Champion's Trophy is, I think, a reasonable choice, given that it's limited and it does have some uses in current PvP. Circus Fantasia, that's Mui's artifact. It's decent, but kind of limited uses in PvP right now, mostly on Conquer Lilius for high effectiveness builds. Cradle of Life, I would not waste a custom group on this. It just adds debuffs and stuff. You'll get it from Covenant 7s eventually. You can throw it on random PvE teams. Creation and Destruction has yet to find a practical place other than being a meme. Draco Plate is a staple artifact for many warriors. It's limited. This is Luna's artifact, and it's kind of the go-to artifact for a lot of warrior bruisers when they don't have anything more specific for their kit. It just provides a lot of value with damage and damage mitigation. Definitely reasonable to get this if you don't have it or if you need another copy. Right now the meta does not really favor users of this artifact. A lot of bruisers are hard to draft right now because of the HP scaling thing in the Frenzy change, so this isn't like a super high priority at the moment, but certainly it is limited and it does have uses, so I think it would be reasonable to pull if you need it. Durandal is, for Dark Corvus basically, and again, I feel like this is something you can just get from Covenants eventually. Full Metal Automail, or Full Metal's Automail, is a collab one, so we can't get it. Golden Rose, so this is not a limited artifact, but it is very, very good on Lionheart Sirmia, and certainly things, like Designer Lilibet. There's a lot of warriors that can use this artifact. It's kind of the Sigurd Scythe for health scaling bruisers, or non-attack scaling bruisers. Like Sirmia, for example, she uses defense, right? She doesn't need attack. Sigurd Scythe gives you attack, and so you want to use it on things that scale with attack. Golden Rose is an excellent artifact. It is not limited, so you can theoretically get this from other summons, but a lot of the limited artifacts you'll be able to get on this banner have been around for a very long time. So I don't think it's bad value to put Golden Rose on your triple banner if it is available, since, if you pull on this banner, there's a chance that you could get any of the artifacts. Just getting free copies of this artifact, I think, would be very good. Certainly if you don't have a 30+ one, then I think that's definitely a contender there. I will probably put this on my banner if it's available, because my Golden Rose is +27. Indestructible Gators, that's Hwayoung's artifact. I would not recommend it. You can use it on Gucci slides, but beyond that, not very useful. Jacko's Symbol is a collab artifact. Junkyard Dog is a PvE artifact that you get through a side story. Glutton, this is Yufien's artifact, and just honestly not very good. You can kind of use it on some warriors like Rimu or Zahak, but it's kind of niche right now, and I wouldn't recommend it. Prayer of Solitude, this is Leafy's artifact. It's good, it's solid, but we won't be able to have it because Leafy is not 6 months old at this point. Pure White Trust is a Hawk's artifact. I don't think this is worth using really on anyone right now, so I would avoid. Let's see, Prayer Beads. You could use this on Dark Corvus and Melken perhaps, but pretty niche, and again, it's been around for a while, so you can probably get that from Covenants eventually. Sigurd Scythe is very solid, and if you do need more copies of Sigurd Scythe, kind of similar to Golden Rose, I could see an argument for putting it on. This is one of the better, kind of like generic 5 stars. Overall, I would recommend trying to focus on limited artifacts with this banner, though. Snow Crystal, niche use on Shu and Holiday Yufine. I wouldn't consider it. Spear of Purification used to be kind of a neat tech for strays, but now we have Tachi, so I would avoid that one. Sword of Autumn Eclipse, you can use this on Zahak since we only have one symbol, and this provides hit chance, for Aiden, but pretty niche artifacts, so would avoid. Tyrant's Descent. I thought this was Decrescent, but I guess it's Descent, so there's only one Decrescent in the game. That's Ervlin's artifact, right? Anyways, obviously this just came out, so this won't be available. Uberius Tooth. This is like one of these weird artifacts where it's technically not limited, but it's just never available because it never really got attached to a banner, really. And I think a lot of people really wanted this for Hwayoung back in the day, and it just was never available. It was kind of tragic. And then I think, if I remember correctly, they released it right before they nerfed Hwa, and so all these people spent powder and bottles on it and stuff. That was a pretty troll move. I don't know why Crimson Seed is showing here. I thought, do we have to filter by 5-star every time? Oh, I guess when you go specifically into a category, it doesn't do that. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's the warrior ones. For knights, Ancient Dragon Legacy, this is Mort's artifact, and you could use this on Lilius to combat Lua, but pretty niche, and I don't think you should waste your banner on it. Bastion, same idea, can go on Lilius, but niche artifact, and I wouldn't waste as well. Broken Will of the Priest, this is Brig, so it will not be available. Crown of Glory, very underwhelming. Pass. Elvis Ritual Sword, this is another premium 5-star, kind of like Sigurd's Scythe, so certainly if you really lack this one, I think it would be reasonable to put this on the triple banner. You know, if you're kind of like an early mid-game account and you lack this artifact entirely, I think it's very reasonable to put it on there since it is that good, especially if, you know, you have most of the limited units for your playstyle and you happen to be lacking this one. I definitely think that's a reasonable choice. Lots of units use Elbrus, right? Landy, Bellion, etc. Elbrus is a big-time staple artifact. Holy Sack, I wouldn't bother. You can put it on Arrowell or another knight, you know, as a anti-strays or Leica tech, but I think that, you know, you'll get one of those from Covenants eventually. It's not a high priority. Justice for All is not really used at the moment. Mature Sunglasses, this one I think should be available, right? Because Summer Break Charlotte's been around for a while. I feel like she's had a rerun. And this one's, you know, pretty solid. You know, you can put this on, a lot of knights could potentially use this as, you know, if they're on a bruiser build, for example. So Mature Sunglasses is not bad. I would want to have a specific thing in mind for it, though. Noble Oath, this has been around forever and is not great, so wouldn't bother. Kind of same thing with Rise of the Monarch. Pretty niche. Rocket Punch Gauntlet, that's a collab. Spear of the New Dawn is Senya's artifact, wouldn't bother because she's not in an amazing spot right now. Sphere of Sadism is Yolha's artifact and is, I don't think, used by anybody. Sword of Ezra's a PvE artifact, you know, you get that from the Hall of Trials. Wings of Light and Shadow, this is super niche. You could maybe use this on Summer Break Charlotte if you put her on a cleave build, but niche, and I wouldn't bother. Okay, Thief Artifacts, Alabastron, mostly a PvE artifact, honestly. You can use it on Winter, but I wouldn't waste the custom banner on it. Alexa's Basket, Tempasurin is the main user for this one, and this artifact's been around forever, don't waste it on the custom banner. Double-Edged Decrescent I think is garbage. There's some people that put Rylet on this, but those people are memeing. Goblet of Oath, very good on Pyrrha, but if you have Pyrrha, you probably have this artifact. I guess if you got really unlucky, you could consider it, but Pyrrha is not like super meta at the moment. Hostess of the Banquet will not be available because Midnight Gala Lilius just came out. Manica, been around for a while, it's also not very strong, so don't bother. RNL is decent, but I wouldn't waste the custom banner on it. You know, you can use this artifact on Ran or maybe some other thieves. It's just not quite strong enough, and not the units that use it are not so prevalent in the meta compared to Elbrus Ritual Sword or Sigurd's Scythe, so wouldn't bother with this one. Secret Art Swordstorm, no. This is, I mean, obviously it's good on Selene and maybe a couple other thief heroes as kind of, you know, tech builds, but there's just higher priority things. Shepherd of the Hollow, this one is pretty high priority. So, you know, if you're a mid to new game player and you use Aiden a lot and you don't have this one, I would strongly consider it. I wouldn't say it's quite as high priority as Elbrus or maybe some of the other 5 stars, but it's definitely up there. Shepherd of the Hollow is very good. You know, certainly you can use Sword of Cycling Seasons on Aiden, so you probably have other options. Shepherd of the Hollow is quite solid, though, and I think is better in more scenarios than Sword of Cycling Seasons is. So if you're a big-time Aiden abuser, I would consider Shepherd if you don't have it, and you're kind of in that mid-game spot, and you don't need the other limited artifacts more. So there's a lot of caveats to that. Sword of Summer Twilight, this artifact is not super usable. I guess Green Vildred uses it. You could use it on Ran as well. Sword of Winter Shadow, also very niche. You could use it on Midnight Gala Lilius or some other openers if you're really aggressive, but again, very niche. Armament and Torn Sleeve are both collab artifacts. Violet Talisman is not good and is been around for a while, right? So you probably have those. Wind Rider, here's a premium artifact, although this was just in the powder shop, so you probably don't need to put this on your custom group summon. If you didn't have powder for it, I guess, and you do need it, then this is probably one of the more premium 5-star thief artifacts that's not limited. So kind of with the same caveat again, if you don't really need the limited ones, you could consider that. And then the rest of these are not on the custom group summon. Okay, Rangers. Misha, no, I wouldn't bother. It's pretty niche and has been around for a while. An offer you can't refuse, I guess this is Eligos's one, and this will be one of the new ones, but I don't see really anybody using this right now, so probably skip that. Bloodstone is mostly for PvE, They say bloodstone, but this looks like a fruit. This doesn't look like a stone. And I kind of thought this was Abigail for a while, but I guess this is just some other random vampire. Anyways, Dux Noctis. No, this artifact is bad and not really used. The candle, this one just came out for Nakwal, right? So that won't be available. Glow Wings, not super usable. Guiding Light, so here's a premium one, and this one's limited. This is arguably the strongest artifact that you could put on the custom group summon banner. This one is Cerise's artifact, which is unfortunate because, you know, Cerise is kind of a garbage hero at the moment, but you really want this artifact. So, you know, if you're short on resources and you're a mid-game to late-game player, even if you're new, I would try to get this Guiding Light artifact because virtually every ranger can use it, and for the majority of rangers, it's the best in slot for them. Useful in RTA, obviously, Guild Wars, like almost every PvP content Guiding Light is good in, and many heroes are just unusable if you don't have Guiding Light. So not only do you want this artifact, but you want multiple copies, which is kind of crazy. So many people view the custom group summon banner as like the Guiding Light banner, basically, and like that's what you're pulling for. So I feel like you can almost never have enough of this artifact. Iron Fan is pretty much for PvP, or I'm sorry, PvE only. Confile is collab. Otherworldly Machinery is a side story artifact. Special Drink, I mean, it's good on SSB, right? And maybe there'll be another ranger that uses it down the line, but SSB isn't really meta anymore. So, you know, I guess this could be considered if you're early game and you need SSB to clear Wyvern 13 or something, but like there's so many Wyvern 13 ways or heroes, you know, and builds that you can use that are very free to play friendly, and you don't need SSB for that. Smilegate has really made it easy to get into those early hunts, so, you know, maybe if she's your waifu or something, you could consider it. Seal of Capture is a side story artifact. Sharpshooter's Handgun, this was a free artifact that was given out, wouldn't bother with it. And isn't this also the Full Metal Alchemist collab, so that won't be on there. Song of Stars, this is a decent artifact. It is used in some niche PvP builds, and it is useful in PvE, but it's been around for a long time, and I don't think it's worth wasting a custom summon on. It's just not used in enough scenarios. Spatial Temporal Fan is Lua's artifact, and this one is, people thought this would be really busted, but the problem is the Guiding Light exists and it's just so much better, right? So it also suffers from the fact that it's kind of like a two-thing combo. If you have this on our opener, like Lua, and you have a DPS that needs to be stealthed, if they ban the opener that's holding this artifact, then you're screwed because then the DPS is just revealed, right? You don't get that stealth benefit. So kind of hard to use that consistently. Severe Inferno is Bihu's artifact, and nobody uses this. This actually just activated my Siri, which is interesting. Okay, Star of the Deep Sea. This one is a pretty reasonable artifact to put on your custom group summon. It's limited. Summertime Isari is also a decent hero. You know, she's kind of a 4th, 5th niche pick if you're playing aggressive or cleave. And this artifact is best in slot on her and also on Pirate Captain Flan. So you solidly want 2 copies of this artifact. And I could, you know, potentially see maybe way down the line needing a 3rd. Oh, thank you, Crypto. Okay, so this one's definitely a contender, right? Guiding Light's probably going to be more of a necessity for most people, but this one is a strong option. Sword of Judgment is not really used, maybe in some PvE content or something, or niche or meme builds, but not great. Likewise, Unseen Observer, you can use it on Flan, but you know it's not high value. Wall of Order is Landy's artifact. And again, there are some niche PvP builds that use it, and it is limited, so not the worst thing in the world. And it comes with Landy. So honestly, you're probably putting Landy on the banner for Landy, not for her artifact. And this is just kind of a nice bonus that it can be used on some heroes. So that is certainly an option. Okay, so that's the end for the Rangers. We can look at Mages now. Abyssal Crown is kind of one of the more premium 5-star artifacts for Mages. But they're mages, so they're almost always going to want to use Book, which is a 4-star artifact. That said, there are some debuffers that really want Abyssal Crown. However, that playstyle is not very meta, so I don't think this is a high priority. I think if you're that early to mid-game player and you just need like almost everything, there's other things that are going to be much higher priority, like Elbrus Ritual Sword, for example. Black Hand of the Goddess is used on some builds, like Moonlight Vivian, ML Vivian, can use it, just to give her more stats. Not high priority though. Bloody Rose, also not high priority. Some Zeos are using it in PvP, just to get even more effectiveness. Chatty, this is a side story artifact. Crimson Moon of Nightmares is not good, so don't put it on there. Same thing with Dingosorb. Dignosorb, I always call this Dingosorb. It's Dignosorb though, and it is not good. It was used on top model Lilica for a long time, but she's not meta right now. Etika's suffers from the fact that Book exists. It's a fine artifact, but Book is just better. Fairy Tale for a Nightmare is a pretty strong artifact, and this would be a big contender for your group summon banner. This is on Tea Time Tenebria, paired with her. She doesn't necessarily really use it though. She's going to sometimes use other things like a book or an effectiveness artifact or any number of things. She can use this one. However, this one is amazing on Solitaria because it has that strip chance and the fixed damage is really strong. You also want it on Archdemon Mercedes, although Archdemon is not very meta right now. So while this artifact is really best in slot for a couple heroes, neither of those heroes are super meta. That said, this is a limited artifact, so it might be an opportunity to pick it up. I would not consider this to be as premium as Guiding Light, right, or Song of the Deep Sea, whatever the bomb one is. Frame of Light is collab, same thing with Ignition Gloves. Knowledge Seed, pretty useless, wouldn't bother. Same thing with Last Tea Time. Maybe there's going to be a hero that uses that down the line, but we're not there yet. Magic for Friends is only for Mercedes. The Necron Undine is a collab. Arya's artifact, Scroll of Shadows, is pretty useless. You can use it on Arya though. Not high value. Severed Horde Wand is collab. Spirit's Breath, decent artifact for a few things like AOL or A-Lots, but not super used in PvP. Time Matter, not great. Some Zeos are on Time Matter, and that's okay, but this is a very low priority artifact. Same thing with Twilight Calamity, Ida's artifact. Dragon Knuckles are, that's Millim's, and that's collab. And then the rest of these are obviously not options. Okay, we have Soul Weavers now. So Celestine, it's an okay Soul Weaver artifact. There's just like better options. It's not bad. There's just things that have more value. And this artifact's been around for a while, so you probably have one. Dr. Bag, this is okay on characters like Elena or Bunny Dom, but again, I feel like there's just higher priority things, like Elber's Ritual Sword, things like that. Not enough heroes use this compared to those other ones. So this EXIF Detective Gadget is collab, and Fan of Light and Dark I don't think will be available because I don't think Ahmed will be available. It's good on Ahmed, so if you need Ahmed in this artifact, then yes, it's good, but I don't think we'll be able to get them. The Flawless Garments, this is a PvE artifact. No, sorry, this is the collab one with Shuna. Yeah, so yeah, we can't get that. And Guardian Ice Crystal is collab, although this would be amazing because this artifact is amazing. Unfortunately, we can't get that because it's collab. Idol's Cheer, been around for a while. Same thing like Rod of Amaryllis. These aren't bad artifacts. There's just probably higher priority things. Sacred Tree Branch, super niche. Shamadra Staff, pretty niche, sometimes made Chloe. Soul Constellation is a decent artifact, but Lulucar just came out, so that won't be on there. Stella Harpa, pretty niche on like Rowana. I wouldn't waste the custom banner on it. Yeah, and these other things are, I guess Diane's artifact on Fading Memories is pretty underwhelming. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just there's better value. Touch of Rekos is okay. So yeah, out of the Soul Weaver ones, geez, there's really not much here, is there? Yeah, I probably wouldn't bother with any of these. Okay, so that is the artifacts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the heroes. And I wish you were able to sort the journal by limited. I guess you're not able to do that though. So we can do all heroes, and I guess we'll just do warriors here. And yeah, we can't. Yeah, they'll sort it by 5-star just by listing them first. So Abby, as a hero, she's okay anti-cleave, but we don't have 100% certainty that she'll be available. Benimara's collab. Cermi's been around forever, and I think you can even get her for free, right, from the hunt thing. Edward Elric is collab. Holiday Euphine is a very niche hero, but she is limited, so you could consider her along with her artifact the trophy, but I think there's better options. You can use her in Zeo traps, and sometimes she's a niche pick for kind of like weird cleave teams that have like a Steny in them or something if you need like that little bit of reach, or maybe if you're Rakazo and you pick her every game. Huayong is, our fallen angel, RAP Huayong, so don't pick her. Jacko's collab, Kane just came out. Ken's been around forever and is garbage. Ravi's garbage. Sol is collab. Chloe's garbage. Shu is garbage. Lethe, too recent to be on the banner. Luna, the hero is not great, but her artifact is okay, so you could consider her. Rem, collab. Sigrid, garbage. Teo, garbage. Alencia is okay. However, she's not really meta right now, right? Because HP bruisers are not really in. In the past, she has been good, but there are higher priority things because she's not limited. Arunka, garbage. Lilibet, garbage. Mui, garbage. Rimuru, collab. Yufin, garbage. Zahat, garbage. This is easy. Okay, so that's it for warriors. Let's look at knights here. Cecilia, garbage. Charlotte, garbage. Ilinov, garbage. Lilius has some rare niche uses against Lua at the moment, but there's probably higher priority things. Yeah, so I wouldn't take Lilius. Karina, very good, but collab. Brig, recent. Crow, Power Crypt by Yolha. Summer Break, Charlotte. Here's a limited hero who I can't remember if there's been a rerun or not on her, so she might be available. And she has some like niche uses in cleave teams because you can take advantage of the fact that she gets this dual attack thing here. So if you're doing like the Zeo cleave stuff a lot, and you don't have Summer Break Charlotte, she's okay. Because like if they try to, excuse me, if they try to Zeo trap you, you can take her along with like Summertime Iseria is a combination I've seen, and you S1 with Zeo, that procs this, and this is an AoE attack, and then that procs Summertime, and that CR boosts your team. So that's kind of a thing I've seen people do. Let's see here, where were we? Tywin, not good. Charles, not good. Mort, nope. Senyu, nope. Yolha, nope. And that's it, right? Because then the rest are Moonlights, right? And we can't get those. Okay, so Thieves. Winter is collab. Haste is in the Rift team, most Rift teams at the moment, but don't put a niche PvE hero on your custom group summon. Kayron's been around for a long time, so you probably have him, and he's like a niche anti-cleave unit, but wouldn't pick him. Kisei also has kind of fallen out of the meta. It's just too hard to use her. So sadly, I wouldn't take Kisei. Pyrrha, a good hero, but not super meta relevant and also very dependent on speed gear. Kind of the same thing with Ran. You know, if you really want to do this playstyle and you don't have them, I guess you could just force it, but that would be more of a for fun thing than an optimal decision. Says is not used. Baiken is collab. Celine, very niche. Ervelyn is, yeah, he's bad. Midnight Galilelius just came out. Vildred, speed imprint. Honestly, I think there is an argument for putting Vildred on the banner. If you have like the other limiteds, and like, let's say for example, the only thing you really need on your account is Guiding Lights, and you're just like a whale or something that just wants to pull Guiding Lights, and you have to select two other things, and your Vildred is not triple S, as an example, because he's a speed imprint, right? So you could consider him for that. Violet is not good. Just want to make sure we're not missing. Yeah, everything else is not 5-star. Okay, so for the Rangers, Bihu we talked about. She's kind of a niche pick into Briarwitch Iseria. I wouldn't waste a custom banner on her, but like she kind of does have a use. It's just very niche, and honestly, it's kind of hard to pull off, so I wouldn't recommend it. Bomb Model Khan is a PvE hero, don't bother. Eligos, did just come out, so if you missed him, this might be an opportunity to get him. So I could maybe see putting him as a third, just if you don't have him and you kind of want to round out your roster. He is a cleave hero, and I do see him pick sometimes, so he's not useless. But he's, kind of hard to use, and it requires a very specific setup, right? You have to be cleaving. Elfelt, that's collab, so we can't take her. Lidica is not useful. Knockwell just came out. Summertime Iseria, we talked about her. I think she's worth putting on because both her and her artifact are usable. So if you don't have her, then definitely useful, right? Or if you need a second copy of her artifact. So, we accidentally clicked it. Cerise, I think this is pretty much the best in slot for this banner because of her artifact Guiding Light, so definitely put her on there if you need more Guiding Lights, and you probably do. Flan, not super usable. Lua, one of the best heroes in the game at the moment, so if you don't have her and you need her, you could consider it, but there's probably higher priorities, right? Riza Hawkeye is collab. Bellona is limited, but we talked about it. She's not super relevant anymore in the meta. Definitely consider if she's your waifu or something, though. She's a fun unit to use. Yuna is not usable, right? And she's also, you get her for free in connections. Bellona, not really usable, in PvP. Command model Leica, She's okay. You could pick her maybe if you really need another Guiding Light Ranger for like combating Zeo or something, but not great, right? Iseria, PvE hero, I wouldn't waste your banner on. Landy. So while Landy has fallen out of the meta and her artifact is not super usable, she is imprints for ML Landy, right? Navy Captain Landy. So you could definitely consider putting Landy on the banner for that, especially if like the main purpose of your banner is getting Guiding Lights and you don't really have good options for the other 2 slots. Consider Landy for the Navy Captain Landy imprints. Pavel is super not usable right now, unfortunately. Pretty much only for, dedicated cleavers and stuff. Hard to dedicate the gear to him at the moment. Okay, so that's it for Rangers. Mages. Aramentha, not super usable. Same thing with Balances on. Cowrick. He was kind of usable there for a while in Mage season, and then that frenzy went away, and so he dropped off. Melissa has never been usable, maybe if they buff her for like a 7th time. Mellum is collab. Politis is a staple hero. She is, has not been like oppressively strong for a long time, but she always, seems relevant still. A lot of cleavers pick her, a lot of aggro players will pick her in certain situations, so she's definitely a usable hero. I wouldn't consider her top tier by any means, but she keeps cropping up because of her passive. That said, the new MLU Fiend is coming out, and that will have her passive, so I don't know if that'll affect how often people pick Politis. Roy Mustang collab, Tenebria is garbage, Arya is okay, but she's pretty niche. If you really want to use her, then I guess go for it. Dizzy is collab, Ida, pretty niche, Fairy Tail, Tenebria. So let's talk about the hero. She is not super meta relevant at the moment. However, I think she's still pretty pickable. If you are an aggressive player, then she's often an option towards the end of a draft when the opponent has really left themselves open to debuffs. They're picking things to really combat the damage that you're trying to put out, and you last pick a Fairy Tail Tenebria, it can in many situations be a must ban, because the amount of control this character puts out is insane, especially with her most recent buff where you can soul burn her S1 to like reverse provoke a lot of things. It really increased her consistency and control. So this hero, it's one of those heroes where like she becomes a must ban in some scenarios in the 5th slot. Her artifact, also very relevant. So I think honestly, even for standard players, like at the end of a draft, if they didn't protect themselves against debuff, she's just like a must ban in those scenarios. So I think she's actually pretty good. She's in a good spot. Luluka, not usable. Xeno's a Hall of Trials hero. Gazelle is a collab. Basar, nobody picks Basar anymore. Ludwig, did anybody ever pick Ludwig? Maybe Elf Mage. Ram, collab. Vivian, not really useful, right? I think that's the end of it for mages. Okay, Soul Weavers, Ning Ning is collab. Shuna is collab. Tamarin just had a banner, but is an amazing PvE hero, so I guess if you were just starting and you needed Tamarin, I think definitely just get a Tamarin, because she will unlock a ton of PvE content for you. If you're a brand new player, I think you could consider Tamarin for that reason. She's that useful. And you just missed her banner. Ahmed, I don't think will be on the banner, but if she is, she's a good hero, but it's hard to use her right now because, one, her base speed is kind of low compared to a lot of the things, and she's easily disrupted by like Politis and stuff like that. If you are an Omega Speed Whale, she does have a use in your kind of toolbox, but it's gotten even smaller because Bunny Dom makes it hard for her to press all of her buttons. If she uses her skill 2, this thing right here gives her an extra turn, and then Bunny Dom kind of wrecks your day. So it forces you to skip the skill 2, and then she loses a lot of her value. Diane is limited, is a good Soul Weaver, but I think has just kind of been like replaced and power crept by a lot of other options, especially now that we don't have the Soul Weaver Frenzy thing anymore with the speed. Some people do pick Diane still. In certain bruiser matchups, she's still oppressive because anti-crit is just so annoying. Elena is a pretty niche like anti-cleave answer, and I wouldn't waste a custom banner on her. Amelia's collab. Destina is very good. She's used a lot in PvP RTA at the moment, but she's been around for a long time, and I think there's just better options. Ocean Breeze Luluka won't be on there, right? Ray, not usable. Rowana, there's probably better things to put on the banner for. You can use her against things that have extra attacks, like Commander Pavel or Seaside Bellona, stuff like that. There's just not many of those scenarios happening in the meta at the moment. Sharoon is pretty meta relevant. However, it's for a specific playstyle, I think, and you probably need like Guiding Light and stuff like that more. That said, if that is your playstyle, if you play slower and you don't have Sharoon, she's a great counter to hand guy, so you could consider throwing her on there. Okay, I think that's it for the heroes. So what are the 3 heroes that I'm going to take? I'm probably not going to pull on the banner much, honestly, because I have, I think, a lot of Guiding Lights at the moment. But I would definitely put Cerise on there to get 1 more copy of Guiding Light, perhaps. And if I can get Abigail, I would put Abigail on there. And do I even need a 3rd hero? I guess I could consider Landy. Let me look at my artifacts and see. Because I have that Song of the Deep Sea thing. I think, yeah, I have 2, and I even have a 3rd here that I'm working on. So I don't really need that. Guiding Lights, you know, you can never really have enough. I have 7 right now, so I'll definitely do Guiding Light to get another one of those. I have... Yeah, we have plenty of the Fairy Tale Tenebria ones, so I don't really need that. I mean, I guess it could be Landy, just to have more copies of Landy, if I ever wanted to build a 2nd Landy. Yeah, there's not a lot that I need, so I may just skip this one. Honestly, the things that I need are like the collab heroes, you know, like Tachi and stuff. Yeah, I have plenty of Draco plates. So I may, you know, just select the heroes, pick 2 random ones, not really do any pulls, and just use powder to buy a Guiding Light one. So I may not pull on this. Maybe I do need another copy of Sword of Autumn Eclipse, so I might put a Runka on there just to potentially get that. But this account has a ton of artifacts, so I probably won't be pulling a ton on this banner. If you have any questions, though, let me know. Always happy to take a look. See you next time.